Hello. I think we're live. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for being so excited and picking up your first access keys and jumping in and having a scan already. Let me just make sure my level's all right. If people can tell me how things sound in the chat or in Discord, that would be good. Just let me know that you can hear me okay, that the music isn't too high, etc. Let me keep to. Music sounds really loud in my ears. Let's turn that down a bit for me. Oh, I bet you can hardly hear that now. How's that? Sounds good? I am very bright. Yeah, I taped some baking paper over the light above me to try and reduce things, and that didn't even help. Let's try. No, I'm no less bright, am I? You're gonna have to put up with me being bright. More cowbell. Good quote. Right. Let's up the music then. No music. Desktop audio. It's quite ambient. It's just dipped out at the minute anyway. I'll take my voice down again a bit and then just try and equalize everything a bit. Music should come back in again. Just a second. Can you hear that? Can you hear any music? Even if it's just subtle in the background? Not much is there. Yeah, okay, cool. Interesting. Well, if we get to the point where you can't hear the game when I'm running it, let me know. I'll just keep an eye on. But as long as you can hear my voice, good. Right. So then, essentially, we're all here because we're interested in modding off-grid and making our own levels, hackable devices, apps and hacking tools, what else? Conversations, narrative elements, bits and pieces along those lines, and it's actually pretty straightforward. So what we're going to go through is essentially how you get started doing that. We're going to keep it fairly high level. We're not going to go into writing. Well, we'll see. We might write some basic Lua, but I'm going to see whether we can avoid pretty much any Lua and just throw some game objects in and get a mod built and pushed up to workshop. So, without further ado, I guess I ought to see about pulling up Steam. So I need an external window. I've just realised I've still got the starting soon image in there. Let's get rid of that because we have started. So feel free to ask questions in the chat as we go, whether that's in the Discord or in the Steam chat. I've got both of those windows open. We can see both. So yeah, feel free to treat this as kind of a Q&A, and I'll do my best to kind of answer things as we go along. So where are we? Just going to add a window in here. Window capture. C, come on. Find Steam for me, will you? OBS is funny with pop-ups sometimes, so we're going to just have to kind of see how it treats some of this. But essentially, here's Steam. If you've let's just quickly have a pop back. Possible note from Jiva. Didn't realise, probably just skipped when reading the wiki. Levelkit appears to also need the beta code. Ah, yes, that's true, and that's exactly what we're going to jump onto. So, you're in your games library, right? And like me, you may well have a kind of fairly eclectic range of things, but sort of somewhere halfway down, you've got your off-grid copy. So, and I'm going to just go from the beginning here for people that haven't managed to have a look at the instructions properly yet, or were just waiting to follow along with the video. So essentially, what we are going to do is you're going to add game, just from the very beginning. If you have got no experience with Steam and you've just set up a Steam account to play off-grid, if you have, thank you very much. That's amazing. And maybe Valve should be giving me a kickback for that. Who knows? Well, who knows? We all know. They won't. So, click Add Game down in the bottom corner, and it'll prompt it. You won't see any pop-ups, unfortunately, because of the way that OBS works here. So, you'll add a non-Steam game, or activate a product on Steam, or browse the Steam store for games. You want activate a product on Steam. In there, you get this window, which includes a Steam subscriber agreement, and I'll just add another window. Oh, this is going to be a pain in the ass. Steam pop-up. I wish that OBS had a way of recognizing pop-ups. Right, so Steam product activation. There you go. So you'll get this pop-up. It'll be slightly bigger than that. It'll be more like this kind of size. You put your product key in. I know this is probably teaching you all how to suck eggs, but yeah, just to cover my bases. So you put your product. Oh, that's nice. That is really not what I wanted you to do. Okay, let's turn that back off again. Once you've done that, you then right-click on the game, which should now pop up in your library, and click on Properties, which is another pop-up that that OBS is not showing easily there. But so that will then get you. Let's see whether no. I'm going to do this a slightly different way. I'm going to just do a full desktop capture, and make sure there's nothing frightening on my desktop. I've got a setup for that as well. Yeah, that should do. Probably want to see my beautiful face in there as well, so how do I do that? Video capture device, add existing external webcam. There you go. This is what you want to see. So we're in Steam. Right. Ah, nice. Right. Well, I think I'm back to being able to show you all this stuff a bit more steadily. So, basically, right-click. That is showing up. It's just slightly clipped off of the screen, isn't it? There we go. Right-click there. You go to Properties, and then click on Betas. And in here, you type our infosec nod of password 1234, which obviously is not guessable and wouldn't be used widely around the globe. You hit check code and it will say access code correct, private beta first access is now available. It gives you it in this drop down. Now there's some here that you won't see because they're ones I've got, but you want to click on first access. Yes, exactly, Daniel. We've gone for something that no one will ever guess or crack or brute force. They wouldn't even need to brute force it. But unfortunately, Steam wouldn't let me put in God, sex, purple, or love. So that's what I had to do. Bakamoichi gay. How do I? You're not going to be able to tell me how to pronounce that. That's an amazing handle. Exapunks and Shenzhen, yep, absolutely. I haven't gotten to play much of Exapunks yet. I got it when they launched the early access and had a little play around, but I didn't get to spend much time in it yet, so I'm looking forward to that. So, once you've got that password in and hit check code, if you're a Windows user, you actually need to force OpenGL over DirectX, and there's a handy little way of doing this. You hit the General tab and set launch options, and then in here you hit -force -GL core, and you spell it correctly. And basically what that will do is it will stop DirectX being used when you run this game. Don't worry, it won't affect any of your other games. Close that, and now as long as it's downloaded, it'll take a moment to download once you've added the beta code. You should be able to hit play and it launched the game. So am I back? I think I'm back. Oh right, what's the launch option? Yeah, not forge, force. Unless I spelt it wrong. I spelt it wrong. Oh right, yeah, I'm streaming. I can talk to you. I don't have to type. Yeah, you might get that hang / everything backer. There we go. Cool. Good to know. Though I've pretty much had it. Well then I might try it again at some point. But I'll like to know that I can shorten it without offending. So if you see the stream hang or die like that when I hit run the game, that is that has happened actually to my machine since I did this Force GL core thing. So you will probably see that happen yourselves. You know, your own machines might hang when doing so. So we'll hit play and have that on in the background. And that is you able to play the game. So that's good, isn't it? The next thing that you can do. Let's go new game. Throw this into the map scene here. The next thing that you can do is go to Steam and start and I probably should have gotten you to this a little sooner, but it's easier to do everything in chronological order, isn't it? Basically, go to Library, Tools, and I don't know, some people might not have seen this before, but loads of the games that you have tools related to them, and they're all listed here. And off-grids is just down the bottom there, and if you hit play game, although it's not a game, that will force it to download it, which will give you ready to play instead of not installed. So you'll hit play game and you'll get the same download window come up that you get when you're downloading an actual game. And what this does, oh hang on, I've got 2 sets of music running. It's kind of working, but let's do that. Off-Grid Levelkit First Access is essentially a Unity project that we have kind of built a stripped down version of all of the gameplay and gameplay tools. If you get that downloading, what it does is then down in properties you can go to local files here, Game Town Games Master Volume. Yeah, absolutely. Is that better? Let me know if that's better. I can go further. Cool. So essentially, once you've got your level kit downloaded with the first, and you have, oh yes, so not long ago, Jiva gave a reminder that you actually want to type in that password first here as well. So this also requires you to go to betas and type in password 1234. I sort of wonder whether I should have made this a more obvious on the nose. This isn't really how I think of passwords. I mean, I could have done correct battery staple horse or something like that, I suppose. But yeah, so check code, it'll give you first access, drop that down, grab that, close it, and then your file should download. Then the next thing, once once I'll just drop the audio down a bit further. It seems like the game is a lot louder to you guys than the background music I had on earlier, but I don't get a lot of feedback in my headphones from OBS. So you basically, once that level kit stuff is downloaded, you go to properties and you've got local files here, and you can hit browse local files, and that'll give you this PC data, Steam library, Steam apps, common off-grid level kit, and that'll be your, I mean, you know, be on whatever drive you've got it on. Yeah, essentially that's where this project is stored. There's a lot going on in here for you, but essentially all you really need to do is know this location. It's, like if you've ever fiddled with any of your game files before, you'll know where Steam Apps is. But essentially, you want to copy that little address there, and then you can just close that. As long as you've got, as long as you've got that location, you should be good. So then the next thing to do is open up Unity, and so if you followed some of the instructions from previous, you want to download Unity 2018 to 18F1, which is pretty small on that screen there. I put it in the I can put it in the chat rooms, but well, I'll find a link for it, I guess. We're after Unity downloads. So anyway, basically head to Unity, choose your Unity and download. Where is it? Sorry, I've got no script on my web browser, and Unity's website is trying to push a lot of JavaScript at me. Come on. I mean, so, like, technically that should take you to the latest Unity. But you need to look for Unity 2018.2 18F1. Do people have that installed already? Like, can I get a wave of hands from folks who are following along? Browse local files. Yep. So essentially, like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new project, new Unity project. We're going to call this like off-grid modding test. We want this to be on 20. This is Unity Hub. If no one's seen this before, but you have used Unity before, this is a really useful tool. Cool. Good to see a few people have got it ready. I will take my time as we go through this stuff anyway. So if you are having to download Unity fresh now and create an account because there are holes like that, then essentially you won't be too far behind me, I don't think, as long as you've got a fast enough internet connection. So Unity Hub is well worth a download, especially if you run multiple versions, and especially because if you're doing anything else with Unity and someone asks you to run something in a different version, this can basically help you to create multiple projects that are associated with different Unity versions. So we'll hit that, and Unity will launch. Oh no, what am I doing? I've actually gotten this wrong. That's not how you do it. So it's just as well that you're all busy downloading something, because actually you need to point at that location. That was the whole point. Let me kill Unity quickly. Sorry about that. It's just it's obviously getting a little late. Right. Fine. So we actually open up Unity Hub. And click open instead of new. Yeah, and that's what you do. And then you don't go to there, and you don't go to there. You hang on a sec. Go to this location. So properties, local files, browse local files. Nav that folder location. Go back to Unity Hub or Unity. Hit open. Put that location in, and essentially you're not needing to do anything in terms of a new project, because what Steam has done is downloaded a project of ours for you. So advanced open 2018 F1 current build target open. Yeah. And now that will open the Levelkit tools for you. And this is where stuff starts to get exciting, because we can make something pretty quickly. You know, like, I know that the steps to get here have taken us a little while. You know, best part of sort of, I mean, if you take the downloads out of it, it's fairly snappy, but obviously there's a bit of waiting around in between times. So yeah, we'll wait for Unity to load that project up, and if anyone's ever used Unity before, you'll know that it sort of has to do a load of processing of libraries and bits and bobs and importing assets, so that can sometimes take a little while. So we'll just sit here and watch that loading bar go by. Are folks managing to follow along on this bit? Everyone's been able to target the Unity project and open it up? I hope. Cool. I should have brought a bottle of whiskey if we're going to be sat here watching that loading bar for a long time. This doesn't necessarily take that long. It depends on what kind of mood Unity's in. Win 95. Yeah. Windows 95 is being a pain today, Daniel. I mean, you've got to bear in mind that this is also while I'm trying to run OBS and stream through an incredibly bad network connection. So if you lot have all managed to get it imported, maybe that's the thing. Yeah, what's happened here is my computer has decided to be courteous, and I have the game running in the background. Exactly. Yeah, maybe I should just close the game quickly for a moment. That's probably a good idea. But we need some ambience, so I'll bring the music back. I think it's my machine being courteous and allowing all those folks who hadn't downloaded the stuff yet a chance to catch us up. But essentially, it has to process all of the textures and like cube maps and process the animation assets and create references and library files, kind of do a kind of pre-compile. It does a load of stuff. Turning it off again. Sacrificing a virgin. I mean, no, I haven't. Not at the altar of the Unity editor. I mean, I might have been partial to that for other hobbies, but not game dev. Yeah, Backer, that was a good shout. I should have probably turned the closed the game down. Although what that means is when I run it again, you'll end up with a 30-second hang while my machine catches up with launching the game. Anyone got anything they'd like to chat about in the meantime? Any InfoSec news? Tell a joke. Tell an InfoSec joke. I am the worst person for telling jokes. I always forget the punchline, so you'll end up on the edge of your seat and then incredibly frustrated with me. So I'll avoid telling jokes. We'll stick to banter and wit, stuff that I could do on the cuff. You know which people? Can anyone tell me about the? That'd probably be a bit UK centric. As you all know, Brexit has been a key part of everyone's lives for the last 2 years in the UK, and apparently some big news with the government basically falling over its face has been going down today. And I've been so busy with this build that I've not been able to pay any attention to it. But if you're all from different places around the world, then you probably haven't been paying attention either, because it's sort of marginal news. Is Brexit happening? No one knows. No one knows what Brexit is. That's the problem. You can't make something happen if you haven't spec'd it out first. Theresa May's still in vote of no confidence or whatever. The 1922 committee, who is a group of backbencher MPs who get to kind of when I think a threshold of 15% of the party votes no confidence or writes a certain letter, then they can question the Prime Minister's legitimacy, and then they have to have a runoff vote as to whether she'll stay in. Backer's you've got your own circus to deal with. I wonder which part of the way. You could be anywhere. You could be anywhere, and that could be the case. Yeah, Daniel's just saying the Labour MP who picked up the mace in the middle of a parliamentary session. The mace is meant to represent. It's literally. My arms can't even fit. I'll step back. It's a mace that is massive. Massive golden thing that, essentially, it's this massive golden mace that you could be in the middle of some major battle that King Arthur was waging against the goblins. This mace apparently represents the monarchy's permission for the government to function, and that if it's removed, the government ceases to function with any authority. So in this sort of 3 seconds that this Labour MP walked up and took it down and walked off, technically there was no government functioning, and it caused a big kind of hoo-ha, and it was lots of silliness. It just shows sort of how weird kind of arcane protocols still exist in a parliament that was built in the 1600s. Right kerfuffle. Yeah, it was a right kerfuffle. I mean, this is obviously the whole thing is a complete shambles, and once you get past being sad about it being such a glorious kerfuffle, you kind of have to laugh at how ridiculous most of it all is. It's absolute madness. Let me take the mace and bring it to Mordor. Someone, yeah. What I mean, if there was a large pool of lava near enough to Parliament, that mace could just be incinerated instantly. You know, and then what would the British people do? What would they do? Just don't know. Yeah, you're right, Backer. I think you're right. I think we're kind of, well, the British people are in a sort of state of weird denial / hysteria over the whole thing. At some point, it'll get a bit realer, and then people will start picking up pitchforks on both sides of it. So, well, let's move off of this. Have I read any of this Charles Stross laundry files? No. Is that's a leak, or is it a memo? What are the Charles Stross laundry files? Jin? I could Google them, I guess. Bizarre book series. Wow, I had forgotten how long it takes to import this stuff. I suppose it's just as well that I'm doing it, because if anyone's going to be able to follow along, if I'd have just gone, well, has anyone done it yet? Bizarre book series, bizarre, excellent mix of IT, Cthulhu mythos, MI6/MI5. Well, MI5 is domestic, and MI6 is the kind of extraterritorial version. So MI5 are like the FBI, they do internal serious crime, and MI6 are like the CIA, they go and do bizarre black ops around the world. So it depends, really. It depends on whether it's extranational or intranational in the book. But it sounds up my street. I recently read The God's Eye View. What's the name? Barry Eisler, I think. God's Eye View. Yeah, The God's Eye View by Barry Eisler, and that's interesting. He's actually an he's an interesting guy. He's ex-CIA. I don't know whether he was ever particularly important. He says he wasn't, so probably wasn't. But maybe that's him calling a singular bluff. Maybe it's double bluff. it's essentially about kind of what the next level of surveillance capability would be if you're in the NSA now thinking about the future over the next 5 to 10 years, what would they be building? And it's quite interesting, and the director of the NSA essentially builds a singular backdoor for it with the kind of chief dev, and then has her assassinated so that only he has control over the whole thing, and it's about how the thing spirals. It's definitely worth a read if you like your sort of pseudo surveillance spy fiction. But yeah, I will definitely check out Charles Frost's The Laundry Files. Oh, look at that! That is a Unity project, fully locked and loaded. So, right, where do we start? Essentially, it looks like there's a bit of a delay in the stream. Just trying to have a look. Yeah, I think you're behind me by sort of maybe, I don't know, 5 to 10 seconds, but that's probably not terrible. Yeah, I don't want to mess around with the stream and try and gain that back. It's not worth it. If it feels like I'm a long way out, let me know. This is our Unity project. Isn't that fun? I'm gonna drop this down. Shrink it in because I'm on a widescreen. It's slightly out of view. This is where you start being able to mod stuff. So, without jumping too far into the deep end too quickly, essentially, here we now have the project that you would be able to look through if you've got it downloaded or opened up. And Levelkit, this is the sort of folder that essentially has collections of props for you to start building and modeling stuff with, all kinds of stuff. They're like, where do I start on this? Oh, this is so vast. But before we jump into how to actually build some geometry, I guess one of the more interesting things, aside from Levelkit, is levels. So, that's interesting. EMF camp. What did I do there at EMF camp? Made it into a level in Levelkit. Is that someone else's mod? EMF camp mission. This is exciting. It's like Christmas come early. EMF camp mod. Is that anyone here? Can't be. We have off-grid testing levels, and in there you have a scene you can open up called s01ep's testing facility, and this is essentially a mod that we've kind of started ahead of time for you all to get to play around in. It's basically a big warehouse space so that you can maybe have a drone flying around in when we get the drones set up and in. They're currently a work in progress, but also some smaller rooms so that you can go and start putting guards in, walking around things, bathroom, offices, bits and bobs, stuff for you to start off basically with as a template for what you wanted to make. If you've got no interest in geometry and you just want to be messing around with scripting bits and bobs, and this should pretty much work out the box. So well, you can mess around in there. Let's start though with a brand new file. So we'll open a new scene instead. You don't need the main camera or the directional light. Essentially what you're going to do is go up to the top here, and you've got this little off-grid. Am I going too fast for anyone yet? Are people able to follow along? I don't have that on my copy. Jen, what do you mean by that? As in you don't have the level kit stuff, or? Oh right, you don't have the EMF folder. Yeah. 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 It might be something that Pontus was working on. I'm unsure. Yeah. I can only think it would be me, but that's just worrying because my memory has completely absolved itself of having to remember doing that. So I'll get to dig in that sometime later for a surprise. So if a few of you have managed to get Unity open and set up to this point, you should now be in the editor along these lines. You'll have a little window here, a little tab up the top here called Off Grid, and that opens a window called Levelkit Tool. That Levelkit tool you can drop in anywhere you want, basically, wherever's convenient. It has a few different tabs, but the most important one to start with is Create. So you can create mission or an app. We're going to do a mission today. The mod name is going to be Rich's mod test. The mod description is going to be blah blah blah. Level name. Oh, that's odd. Let's pop this out again and then redo it. It's gone a bit funky. Oh, that's stayed that wide. That's interesting. Level name, test level, level description, blah blah. Oh, you can tell I'm getting a bit weary. Blah, and then your district. So this is the sort of nearest interesting thing, or the closest interesting thing to have a quick look at. You got this bunch of different districts that essentially sets up where on the map your mod is going to sit, what kind of location it will have, and it has some other interesting knock-on effects that we can go into in detail later. And then location can be whatever you want to name it. The main thing is it will want to be a different name for each mod that you have. I don't know why I wrote friction, but I did. It'll want to be a different. That's not a location. Let's call it like St. James's Square. For now, make your locations unique so that they end up on different tiles because there's a weird UI thing that we haven't sorted out, which means that you can't select mods that are on the same location at the moment. So we then hit create new mod, and this does a load of interesting stuff, including opening up where, again in Steam Library, all the data for this stuff exists, which gives you the kind of basic folder hierarchy and this, that and the other. It starts building light maps, even though you don't necessarily want it to just yet. But it also gives you a couple of kind of template rooms to start messing around in. You'll see this will probably pop into focus in a minute when the light maps are done. Well, it might. We'll just give that a second. So this is where we do want to get the game running in the background, because literally you can now connect this up to the game and test this mod. I know you haven't actually changed or made anything yourself just yet, but you could now go in and move the doors around and the tables around and add some props. There you go. So this is our test scene, and we want to flip this table upside down or something. Oh, there's a nice laptop on there, but let's set that to oval. Turn this chair upside down. And now, you don't really need to look at very much else in here. There's this tweaks tab, which I've got to basically write up in the wiki, that needs removing or deprecating or ignoring, because essentially that all the functionality that we started to build in here has now been usurped by the fact that ProBuilder is native in Unity. ProBuilder is where do you enable it? ProBuilder is worth enabling if you want to start messing around with making complex geometry, although there's some things that you'll need to watch out for to do with setting the colliders up and stuff like that, so I can take you through that later. I think it's in Package Manager. Yeah, ProBuilder. Basically, you can search for it and find it somewhere in here if you want to mess around with that kind of stuff. But for now, you can actually just take these sort of tileable bits that we have that are fairly straightforward and build stuff with that. I would recommend, if you want to make complex rooms and a big interesting building, do look up ProBuilder and work it out. Yeah, there you go. Backer knows what ProBuilder and ProGrids are. Yeah, basically you can just use that as your sort of scene or your tool for knocking up your scene. So forget about this tweaks thing, because things like the vertex color stuff on it is broken between Unity version upgrades, etc. We do have this validate tab, which is interesting. No mission issues detected, no mission object issues detected. So if you start building mission objects, which include, like, for instance, this is a laptop that is set up as a mission object here. It's a hackable device. It's set up as. We probably don't have any scripts for that in this scene yet. But if you were to misconfigure this and it not have, say, a box collider on it, actually it's added too. So, like, we'll remove these box colliders, and then we'll go back to the Levelkit tool, and mission object issues, laptop, no collider found, and it'll fix it and add a box collider to it. So there's a few little nice validation things that make sure that as you're building your level, you've got the right bits and pieces on for it to work. It's not going to do everything for you, that's for sure. You will come up against errors, and you'll definitely come up against problems as you're writing Lua, because there is not a huge amount of indication as to what's going wrong in your Lua script from Unity, because our Lua integration is not a standard thing within Unity. It will give you the lines in most occurrences though, and so if you've got missing commas from tables and things like that, it will help you find them. So this is the next most interesting tool, networking, and so bear with me a second, because what I'm going to do next is I'm going to launch the game again and close that off. So you're going to lose me for 30 seconds or something. So see you in a moment. Oh, you think I'm back? Okay. Well, that's good. Cool. Well, let's just wait for the stream to catch up. Looks a bit laggy in my window. Let me hit play. So, I'm back, and hopefully, there's definitely a lag. I think I cause more of a lag each time that I do this, loading the game in, but should be all right. So I've just run into the map screen. You'll see this sort of in the background. I should probably have made this a little smaller. I don't really want to try and dynamically resize in case I mess some stuff up, but if we make Unity smaller, you'll be able to see the game. So essentially now, Levelkit link not connected, search for game, and it detects that you've got the game running in the background here. And then if you underneath stop networking hit start, and you've got these details here for uploading the mod later, but that's basically detected that you're logged into Steam and this, that, and the other. Hit start, and it's going to attempt to load your mod, or in this case just the template with the table turned over. Just thinking about it anyway. Might take a moment. It always does. 0%. And remember, this is a live demo. It could, we're at the mercy of the demo gods. It could just not work. It was working earlier, if that's any concession. God, this is taking a little longer than it usually would, but I haven't done it while streaming. so could be related. While that is trying to load, I might stop and start the stream and see if I can fix the lag just quickly. I will literally be gone 10 to 20 seconds. Hopefully that sinks us in a little bit. I guess I might be back. It's making me watch adverts. Yeah, I am back. Well, as you can see, that mod hasn't uploaded yet. Yes, Jeeva, do grab a cider. God, I could really do with a cider. Or a beer or something as well. Back as project is loaded. So, well, if you give me a minute, I'm going to get a whiskey to help us through this. We'll see whether this is managed when I get back. If not, we're going to troubleshoot, because game dev and modding is all about troubleshooting, as probably most of you are already aware. So we'll see. I'll be back with probably a nice bottle of rye whiskey, I think. Just a second. So, right. I should have asked McFly whether he wanted to watch this stream, because if anyone here knows McFly from Millerways, Millerways is the portable hacker space that essentially feeds hungry hackers and does loads of interesting projects at a lot of hacker conferences. And he loves whiskey, to the point that he runs a night called Whiskey Leaks at most hacker conferences, where everyone has to bring a bottle of good whiskey, and most of them get finished that night. So, 80 odd bottles of whiskey are drank in a single night. You always have a headache afterwards, but you do get to try some mighty fine whiskey. Well, I suppose the first bet is to pour this. I'll message McFly quickly. So we've got Templeton Rye, aged 6 years. This was Al Capone's favourite tipple, and it was on his bootlegging route from Chicago through Iowa up through Minnesota to Canada. So yeah. Right, I'm gonna try stopping and starting this. So you'd go to Levelkit tool, hit stop, and that'll stop it from networking. In this instance, it throws the main menu back up for us. Oh, that is good. The nice warming feeling of a whiskey. Well, hit new game just so that it's in the background. Oh, hang on, that's interesting. That is interesting. Right, that is a problem. I can hear the buttons, and I've not got it networking. Stop networking entirely. You can hear the map behind this texture. I think I have seen this before. I can hear. You can probably hear it as well. I'm afraid what I'm going to have to do is probably close Unity. Getting a few neat errors. Oh no, I'm not going to close Unity. I'm going to close the build of the game. And you'll lose me for a moment as I try and launch the game again. I'm just going to have a look at what Jude's saying. A few neat errors. Loading file path super. Okay. There's a lot of errors. I don't have that many. I do have errors. You'll get errors to do with prefabs that it can't unload. View collapsed. Oh, those are collapsed. Ah. Well, let's not worry about those just yet, because I don't necessarily think that's the problem we're having. If you hit clear, Jiba, does that clear while you're in editor, or do you get a load of those errors come back up? Right, and while you're waiting to kind of answer me or have a look at that, I'm going to launch the game again. You're going to lose me for 20 seconds while it all comes together. Right, I think I might be back. Stream's definitely lagging. So, well, anyway, we've got the game screen up again here. I'm not going to hit the new game and go into the map screen again. We're going to just try searching for the game here. It's networking. We hit start now. And hopefully that'll load. Well, maybe it won't. Josh, who is the young junior artist who we've been having do some mod testing from a completely kind of blank slate perspective, and has done a bunch of this, has said to me in the little dev chat that I have that this very first time that you try and network the Levelkit tool with a mod that you've been making often does take ages, apparently, or at least he's found that recently. I don't remember that being the case in the past, but if that's how it is in the more recent builds, then that's something to watch out for. I've got a feeling, this might be sort of slightly more extreme though. But apparently, yeah, like maybe kind of leave this trying to run and go for a cup of tea and come back and have a look. And then when you do this in repeat times, it won't take as long. Literally, usually, it's kind of instant, like a couple of seconds delay maximum while it just works. I know what I've done. I haven't hit build level and built the asset bundles. I've just built the light maps. Okay, right. So debug lesson number 2. Let's hit stop there. That'll go back to the main menu in the background for us. We have to go back to the build tab and build level changes detected, and that's what's happened. I haven't built the nav mesh or any of the other important stuff for that matter. Yeah, that's definitely my fault. So we'll now build changes, and this essentially builds all the asset bundles required to push up to the game. which is why it wasn't doing anything. Yeah. So I'll just, look, it's compiling the shaders and everything. Okay, well, that'd be why. So, Jiva, you're saying 2 to 3 per attempt start the networking. That's interesting. So, of the 2 errors you're getting, the second one appears to be referencing files that don't currently have. The general rule with errors is ignore the second one. What's the first error reference for you? I think would be my first question. Yeah, build will have solved it. Yeah, I think basically, yeah, you're right. If you're looking in that bundles folder, where did you need to go? Into there. out of it. Attempting to call get subscribed items whilst query is already in progress. Okay, yeah, so yeah, the two errors are to do with connecting via Levelkit. The first one being I'm trying to work out what should be in the project that you've tried to ask for, and the second one going there's nothing I can point up to the game, so that's fine. Hopefully this build level will make a difference. You'll see, where are we at? Shaders. Not a long way off, hopefully. Hey! Right, well, this is where someone whose computer isn't being hogged by streaming at the same time has managed to get it working. So Jiva in the Discord is walking around in that level, and so that's building a mod in inverted commas. I mean, now it's a case of starting to troll through what you want to do with your mod. Oh, nice. Model of your house, perfect. So you can start messing about with you know, what you want to put in, and start digging through the Lure API and all kinds of stuff. And as I said, I was going to use this more as an intro to get to this point, really, rather than like how to make, you know, some complex mission with a load of crazy hackable devices. What we're going to do is do this in a bite-sized manner and get into that bit by bit, week by week. So I'll stream again next week, and we'll be able to go over some similar stuff. If you all have questions in the meantime, you can put them in the Discord, or you can put them as actually, that might be a good thing to add to the Trello, would be like a documentation or streaming requests. But yeah, feel free to sort of to shout at the kind of things that you want more detail on the wiki. So my level is now built as well. So like, if you're not in the Discord and you can't see what Jiva has just managed, I should be able to now go to networking, search for the game, hit start, and I've got this 0% texture showing up for me that gets in the way. So we are actually in this room, but I've got this black 0% texture in the way. Stop networking. Maybe start again. Let's see. And not fiddle with anything. Weird. I don't know why that's happening for me. Stop networking, maybe. Validate. Might be a light maps thing. No, the light maps have already been built. It's definitely that texture showing up, and the UI being the only thing that can overlay it. I'm just going to try this again, having broken the networking. No. Okay. Well, what it shouldn't have this 0% texture in the way, and you should have the game and your level playable through here. I'm gonna have a dig into what is doing that. I'll probably try and do another stream once I've gotten. Yeah, the wallow has got that same 0% texture in the way. Let's have a look. What have we got going on here? Could not find settings in UI. Wonder what we're doing differently to Jiva then. Jiva, you've got it in a minimized window, so it's not that. No modding settings found. Great new settings from defaults and graphics. Just goes to the errors. Well, let's Google that. That sounds like could be related. So that's now related to passes and when elements of the GUI are shown. Jiva, did you close the build of the game, build your asset bundles, then open a new build of the game? I wonder whether that might be my issue. I might try doing that. So I guess bear with me for a moment while my machine hangs and the stream looks like it cuts off as I launch the game again. Yes, you did. Yeah, let's see whether that's the difference. The whiskey. I shouldn't just be paying attention to whiskey questions. The whiskey is Templeton Rye. Definitely worth a go on. A nip. So Jiva did close, build, reopen, re-import. Okay. So we'll tab out of that. Go to Unity, search for game, start yeah, there we go. So that's the answer. Basically, close your copy of Off-Grid, build the bundles in the build tab. And then you've got your little level here, and somewhere I've got a game controller. There we go. So now, you know, we can go and see our upside down chair, which we modded. You know, bit boring our very first Off-Grid mod to be this upside down chair, but there it is in its full glory. This laptop is there as a hackable device. Let's see, if you SSH into that, will it do anything? Boom, this is a button, sub button, button 2. So I would advise you now go and have a little look at the device scripting page. I'm not going to take you through that now at this point. Basically, this is your opening to making mods. What did we say we were going to put in the Trello board? Oh, I'll put in a list for documentation requests. Oh, come on. Game controllers in the way. Documentation, tutorial, stream requests. So, yeah, feel free, join this board. The way you do that is through this little linky here, which I'm going to put in the Discord. Because if you're not in the Discord, then yeah, probably can't get to this in a useful manner. So follow that link and become a member of this board, and then you'll be able to add feature requests, bugs. Bugs have been moved all the way over to the left. Cool. Yeah, and someone already has. Thank you very much. And documentation, tutorial stuff. Like, basically, you're now going to be looking at this stuff in modding, or probably this stuff. And this is going to seem a bit dense to you, I would think, to start with, because it is. Not really much way around that. Documentation can always be a little bit effacing. We have some good guides. Everything that we've gone through on the stream today is here in Getting Started with Levelkit. Takes you through the basics, and then on to building your first level. Click on that. It tells you about the setup. Tells you a bit more about IDEs, and suggests that you use Atom and a couple of interesting autocompletes for doing Lua stuff, for setting things up. I won't go into that yet. That also takes you through mission scripting. So level design, how to build something up, setting up networks and devices, characters, conversations, objectives. Few links throughout all this stuff. It's a big kind of top view of the kind of things that you can do. And at the very bottom, uploading your mod, which is actually fairly straightforward. So yeah, have a look at mission scripting. This takes you through everything that goes on in a mission script. It's a big, scary thing. So the other thing you could do is just go straight to device scripting, because that's quite exciting and relatively straightforward. I did a YouTube, a Twitch, a streamy thing on this that's on our YouTube channel now, for how to mess around scripting some ransomware elevators. So you can look out for that if you want a bit of extra guidance there. Or you can go here and go to device scripting. And this is a really nice page. It takes you through the basics of what happens in... oh, that's data scripting. You could do that, but let's go to device scripting. This takes you through how to set up a device script. So what we've got there in our thing where this is a button, sub button 1, sub button 2. It takes you through what code you need to write to change these things. So yeah, you could do that and start messing around with the Lua API along those lines if you're interested. Or you could just build something that looks interesting geometry-wise. And like I said, if you're going to do that, probably you want to install Pro Builder, which will give you some more flexibility. It will make making sure it's efficient geometry. If you haven't used Pro Builder before, you haven't got very much experience with 3D modeling, I would err on the side of using some of the pre-existing stuff, and I'll show you that in a moment. But yeah, there's a couple of things to get you started. So then, like, essentially, let's say you've tested your mod, you're pretty happy with it. There's then this mod uploading section, so you can give the mod a name, mod description, blah, visibility, private, public, friends only. This is all Steam interface stuff, so you can then, you'll hit read terms of service to see about what kind of putting stuff to workshop is about. You can add a text. You should add a texture or icon. Basically, that's how people are going to see what you've made and think it's interesting. So a nice little screenshot of an element of what you've made is definitely worth putting in here. And hit create and upload mod to Steam Workshop, and that will basically, because you're already logged into Steam and it knows it's connected to this build that's in Steam through Steam, it'll push your mod straight to Workshop. Easy peasy, done. And you can check out a couple of the mods that Josh has already made. If I remember how to get to the community hub properly. Workshop there. I think most popular. Yeah. And there's a few test mods in here. There's some crazy stuff in here that we need to probably get rid of. But these two by Josh, the museum and the transport station, have been recently updated. Certainly the museum has been. You should be able to subscribe to that and test it and have a play around in it. And hopefully we'll see your mod here next. Hopefully in the email that you got, you spotted that we're going to have a little prize giveaway for the first person to make a mod that is a bit more than the regular template in geometry, and maybe has a device or a bit of additional mission scripting added to it, and gets it uploaded to the workshop. Make sure to ping us when you do it, because we'll want to go and check it and validate that you were the first person there. And yeah, a t-shirt or a hoodie or some off-griddy swag will be whisked your way. And we'll have one for the first one in, and we'll have one for the most interesting one over the next couple of weeks while we're doing this little run of the testing. So I think probably our update plan with Off-Grid, where we're basically going to be giving you a new thing to check out or play around with, is going to be a major update every 5 weeks. So over this kind of next 5 week period, yeah, first mod with, you know, something significant in it. Doesn't have to be massive, not just the basic template stuff that we already have in here. And the most interesting one will get some interesting swag prizes too. So hopefully that's exciting to people. And you know, if you missed the boat on being the first one, then by all means focus on making the most interesting thing within the next 5 weeks. So yeah. So the only other thing to kind of show you, which you might not know about, you might not know about Unity, is there's this thing called multi-level streaming, which is part of the functionality that allows us to do what we're doing here with the modding. There's some nice occlusion culling bug. Okay, if this starts happening to you, it's basically occlusion culling is happening in the editor. You can fix that really easily. Unity has moved everything around. Window lighting, occlusion culling. If you clear the occlusion culling data, back it all pops. You need to bake the occlusion culling data again when you're testing and uploading your mod, but it helps not to have it there while you're trying to edit stuff. So, multi-level streaming. We've got our test level here. You might want to steal some stuff from Pontus's level because you're not really interested in making your own levels. Geometry. You can just drag and drop a different level in here, and then it's gonna be there at the same time as the test level, and then you go, really like the way he's made this set of stairs. Oh look, there's a whole stairs selection there, and you could then just drag that up out of s01ep's testing facility into test level 1, your level, and drop it in architecture there, and boom, you've got your own copy of it. And we're going to just remove that scene. Don't save it. Oh, and look, there you go. You've now got a set of stairs that you completely swiped from Pontus's hard work earlier, and you put them in the middle of your mod. And you can do this not only with existing levels like Pontus's nice testing facility, but actually with a load of quite cool collections of props that Sophie, our artist, has been working on. So I started to say something about collections earlier. Basically, you can load in all of these or any of these, and we'll just be really cheeky and drop them all in. Might take a moment to load them all, but essentially that's going to make all of those collections scenes there in the multi-level streaming, and you've got rooftop parts, home furniture, whatever else you want to mess around with. So Jiva, if you want to make your I think it was you that was making the house that you've imported. Yeah, it was. If you want to make your house into some kind of fantasy house that includes all of the off-grid props, then you could do that. We'll just make this a little clearer by turning the skybox stuff off. But yeah, like by loading all those collections, you get all the different lights, lamps, whatever else. exit signs, all the door types. Doors, don't mess around with doors too much at the minute, to be totally honest. The door that you want to use is this swing door one that's in the prefabs. The rest of them are variations that we've not finished building and fixing. Anything that already has like an interactable icon on it with this hand, you can use, and it should work. Anything else is probably a bit broken and probably worth avoiding for now. We've got loads of different wall panel shapes and sizes with different little sort of features, whether they're slightly jagged or whatever else. The same with ceilings and walls, window types, you know, here we go, all this kind of jazz. Some more kind of eloquent Georgian architecture. The list goes on, it really does. Brick, wood paneling, bits of architrave, plants, roof parts, some life vests and life-saving rings, if you know, if ever you'd like to kind of put a nautical theme throughout your house. More exit signs in your house. Yeah, someone could be taking the trash out for you, maybe leaving an explosive red barrel around. There's coats for hanging up on things, signs, hats, kitchen items. Then there's office supplies and water coolers. There's really loads of stuff in here. Loads of it is still work in progress in terms of interactive hackable objects. So, you know, again, stuff that already has one of these UI icons, maybe something you can just drop in and use somewhat easily, again, depending. But have a look. And then there's, you know, machinery and toilets and bathrooms and kitchens and cranes and cars and vans and stairs and, you know, all this stuff. So hopefully that gives you quite a lot to play with if you're interested in, you know, making your own interesting geometry and this, that and the other. So yeah, I think that probably leaves us roughly at, you know, where you need to be if you want to make your own mod. I'm not going to rebuild anything because it takes too long. But as we saw, that's how the networking stuff works, and then that's how to upload your mods. And have a play. Drop any questions in the Discord. Feel free to also throw cards up in bugs or API requests or tool requests if you're like, well, this would be really a lot easier to understand if I knew that I could do it this way or whatever else. Yeah, this board is the place to try and sort of flag those ideas. If someone else has said something interesting or there's been a bug that you've seen or that is really annoying you, you can vote on it as well there. So that should give us a few different things. I think that's about it now then. I hope that you've enjoyed this stream. It's the first of many. We're going to use this as a kind of resource really, whereby we kind of do live tutorials on how to mod. We'll teach you a little bit of Lua along the way, so there'll be some very kind of basics of programming stuff, which don't worry, I won't go in off the deep end, not least because I am not the world's best coder by a very, very long way. So I will be teaching basics, And I think that's a good way to go anyway, because you shouldn't need to be a programmer to make interesting mods in off-grid. So I want to avoid kind of going in off the deep end around anything too much anyhow. And we'll show you how to make some hackable devices. If you are really excitable and I don't get to doing the stream around what you want to learn about, just head to modding, look at these categories here, and you'll start to see, there's a decent amount in there already, and that's ahead of the actual Lua API itself as well. Cool. Anyone got any questions before I go? I'm gonna close the build and just put my chilled music on in the background. Has anyone got any immediate questions or anything that's sort of jumping out as really not working for them with that setup? I mean, obviously there's bugs in the game itself, but is anyone really stuck or completely broken? Or are we doing okay? And it could be the smallest of things. I mean, I'm not going to stick around and do a huge amount of troubleshooting because it is 11:45 right now, and today has obviously been a long day because there was quite a lot of work squashing bugs to fix bits and pieces to get this into your hands. So I'm definitely ready for my pillow. But it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm so glad to see folks already jumping into the modding tools. If you've been following development for a while, you'll know that this has been functional as a tool set for some time, but it's never been rolled out at any serious scale. We've just done small modding workshops with friends who are either game devs, or we've sort of had students from local colleges try it out. We've had friends who are InfoSec professionals and hackers in inverted commas, trying to make interesting stuff from the perspective of how far can you push the hackable devices and this, that, and the other. And we've been to hacking conferences like SHA and EMF and run workshops on modding off-grid. But again, it's usually been anywhere from 2 or 3 people to maximum 15 or 16 people. So, actually doing it remotely with a larger test group is exciting and interesting. So I'll look forward to seeing how you all get on. Jiva, many thanks for putting up with my chatter. Thank you for being in and asking questions and prompting things that I might have overlooked in terms of pointing out stuff in Unity or different interfaces. That's much appreciated. Well, if no one has any specific questions, and I've left you with enough of a taster to dive in and have a little go at it, I will probably leave you to it for a bit. Thank you so much. Make sure you check out the wiki. Make sure you follow us on whatever social media we're on that you're using, whether that's Instagram or Reddit or Twitter or Facebook. We've got a presence on most of the big ones. And enjoy your modding. There is loads to do here, so I'm sure you'll have plenty to play with. Have a happy Wednesday? What is it is Wednesday today. It's only Wednesday for another 10 minutes in the UK. So have a happy last 10 minutes of Wednesday and enjoy the beginning of your Thursday. And I'll look forward to seeing you all soon. Yeah. Thanks again. Oh, I've done that wrong. Bye. Still done that wrong. Bye.